part of the Z Maker community, and today in this video I'm going to show you how you can draft your own circle skirt and make it as short or as long as you want using Big Z's neoprene fabric. So let's get into the video. So let's go over some of the tools you're going to need to create this pattern. I'm using 1 yard of neoprene fabric. It's got a really nice stretch to it. I will also be using some tracing paper, and I'm also going to be using some tape. You will also be needing measuring tape for your measurements. Of course, scissors for the tracing paper. I'm gonna use some Post-its because this is where I'm gonna write my measurements down. You'll need a pencil for the lines of your pattern. I'm gonna be using just a darker marker so that you can actually see it in the video. Okay, so I have basically taped all my strips of tracing paper together, and we're about 40 inches wide and 60 inches in length. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually folding my tracing paper over like this. So you can think of it kind of like a big book, like if you were to open one end. So you'll see that the fold, or the part that's folded, is going to be towards me, okay? All right, so now let's talk about the actual formula for this circle skirt. So you're gonna use your tape measure and you're going to measure your waist. So you're gonna write down your waist measurements. Now in this pattern, I'm gonna show you, it actually has 2 seams. So we're gonna add 2 inches to each seam. So this is going to be a total now of 28 inches because you're adding those extra 2 inches for each seam to your waist measurement. So that's how we get 28 inches. And we're actually going to subtract 1 inch for stretch because this fabric has a little bit of a stretch to it, and we come out with a total of 27 inches. Okay, so write your measurement down on your little sticky notes. Now, to get the radius measurement, that is the part that's actually gonna go around your waist for the skirt, I'm using a book called Pattern Making for Fashion Design by Helen Joseph Armstrong, and I'm actually using her radius chart for circle skirts. If you don't have this book, I wouldn't worry. You can easily Google, radius chart for circle skirts, and you'll see a bunch of images come up from Google and Pinterest and whatnot. So it's actually very easy to locate online. But with that number on your little sticky, for me it's 27, you would go use column 1 length, scroll down or go down to your measurement. Mine is right here, 27. And then I'm gonna go all the way across here, which is 4 inches and 3/8, because that is the measurement for, or that is the radius for a full circle skirt. So for my final measurements, it's coming out to 3 7/8 of an inch, and then you will have yours on your little sticky note here. And now we're gonna actually trace the measurement for your waist here on the tracing paper, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now you're going to take your radius finished measurement, and for instance, mine is 3 inches 7/8 or 3 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to take my measuring tape and put it towards the end of my tracing paper here, and I'm going to go down 3 inches and 7/8. So I'm gonna mark that right there. And I'm basically going to do this all the way around like this, leaving my measuring tape still at the corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do that now. And once you have your little perforated lines, you just want to connect them. So now for the length of the skirt. So you want to use your measuring tape again and put the measuring tape right where the line of your circle skirt is. And this is how you decide, how long you want it to be. So mine's gonna be a little bit of a shorter skirt, and I'm gonna use bias tape. I'm actually not gonna fold in the hem or anything like that. So just like the top, just like the waistline, we're basically gonna mark 16 inches, and we're going to do it all the way around. But we're going to want to make sure that, of course, we have our measuring tape hitting the waistline. So before I connect these dots right here, of course, if you wanted it longer, you would just measure down, going a little bit further. So if I were to go all the way down here, then this would be a 28-inch skirt. And then that's how you would just increase the length. So again, mine's gonna be a shorter skirt, and now I'm just gonna go in and connect these little dots right here. Okay, now that you have the style lines for your circle skirt, you can go ahead, take your paper cutting scissors, and then just cut following the line. Now, when you go to unfold your pattern, it's going to look like this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to take the pattern, I'm gonna open it up, and I'm going to line it on the bias of the fabric, and then I'm gonna cut out 2 pieces. So for your circle skirt patterns, your pieces, you're basically going to put one on top of the other. So we have the waistline right here, and then we have the side of the skirt here, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just stitch down the side of the skirt. Just all the way down. So before I actually put in the invisible zip into the other side of the skirt, I'm actually going to work on the bias binding for the top of the skirt and also the bottom. Okay, so I have the entire waistline pretty much sandwiched in between that bias, and now we just stitch all the way across. I'm using a zigzag stitch just because this does have a little bit of stretch in it. So here's kind of like the finish with the bias tape at the top of the circle skirt or your waistline. So it's pretty nice. And then we're gonna do the same thing at the bottom of the skirt. All right, so now I have my circle skirt attached to my invisible zip. I have my zipper put in. I'm gonna be doing a straight stitch all the way down, and I'm also going to back stitch as I begin. And now I'm just going to finish off the side seam underneath the zipper, and we'll be all done. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make your own circle skirt. And again, this is Crystal with the Z Maker community.